Thank you for joining us for the State of the Military Reunion Market. I appreciate it. My name is Sharon Danitschek. I'm the president of the Military Reunion Network. So glad you're here. So glad you're interested in what's going on with military reunions. And if you're a veteran, thank you so much for your service. We hope you hear it often, and we hope you never tire of hearing it. If you're new to the Military Reunion Network, just briefly about us, we've been around since 1991. I took the helm in 2013 after a 25-year career in hotel sales. We work with a database of over 11,000, and after I took the helm, I quickly determined that we really needed to start a baseline or trending for what's going on with the market. So in 2017, we did our first annual industry survey. And so the survey that you are going to be hearing about today is just yet another annual survey and the statistics from that. The work that we've been doing with military reunions caught the attention of Meetings Today magazine, and we were very excited to be designated one of their 2019 Meetings Industry Trendsetters. It was quite an honor. Our mission at the Military Reunion Network is to reduce veteran suicide by encouraging continued connection through military reunions. We lose more than 22 veterans a day to veteran suicide, and 65% of those are 50 years and older, which is our reunion demographic. So anything that we can do to help veterans stay connected to each other keeps them off the path to suicide. The services that MRN provides are focused on education, resource, and connection. And we have a wide variety of classes and webinars and instruction that we provide to veterans that are wanting to learn more about the planning process. We also have classes for the supplier community as well on marketing to military reunions, working with military reunion planners, and also for everyone, we try to stay on top of the trends and what's happening with the hospitality and meetings industry. This year has been a significant challenge as because of the coronavirus, we have had almost daily and hourly updates with the industry. It's been, as you can imagine, pretty crazy. For resources, not only do we have forms and checklists available on our website, but we also have a wide variety of industry experts with regard to contracts. We have attorneys, we have event insurance. So we want to make sure that you have access to the people that can answer your in-depth questions as you move through the planning process. And lastly, and most importantly, is connection. For our veterans, not every destination or hotel is interested in working with military reunions. It does not mean that they're not patriotic. It does not mean that they don't love our veteran community. It just means as a business model, they have other markets that they're going to chase versus military reunions. So the connection to our supplier community is very, very important because these are the people that understand military reunions. These are the people that want to work with military reunions. And so for a veteran starting off connecting with a supplier partner that understands what their needs are helps to make that planning process go very, very smoothly. Our supplier partners have wonderful special offers, and one of the other things that we like to do is connect veterans to other veterans that are in process of planning their reunion. For the agenda for the information that we're going to be sharing, we'll start with the meetings industry overall. We'll talk about reunion statistics overall, certainly our survey results, and then looking forward. The meetings industry has suffered a major blow because of the coronavirus. Meeting Professionals International put a survey in the field last year in March, and of the 830 respondents, 96% of them said they experienced cancellations due to the coronavirus. So that is a very, very high number of hoteliers. It's a very high number of venues, convention centers, destinations that are experiencing cancellation. So pretty much the entire meetings industry and community rolled up and was shuttered because of the coronavirus. Fast forward to this year, about the same time, this graph is from iMeet. They did a survey, and one of the questions was, where are the contracted events taking place? What part of 2020 are they taking place in? You can see that there is a significant number that is being contracted in the fourth quarter of 2021, as well as the third quarter of 2021. It is nice to see the high percentage of contracted events already for 2022. It's nice to have contracts in place, but what about new business potential on the books and new requests for proposals? So the question was, then the follow-up question from iMeet was, when are people asking for new booking dates? And the majority of that, you can see fourth quarter, again, of 2021 and third quarter of 2021. Before getting into our survey results, we want to focus a little bit on kind of the framework of military reunions and to give you an idea of kind of what is involved. We have estimated over 15,000 military reunions take place annually. The majority of them, about 86% of them, are planned by volunteers from the Reunion Association that has said, I'll plan it. And many of the volunteers are brand new. The most of the reunion associations do not hand the planning baton to a new person every year. They will keep the same reunion planner year over year. That person gains experience and knowledge that is crucial and critical to the planning process. Reunions take place, take place between April and the end of October. They're about 4 days long. The beauty of this market, if you are new to it, is that there is great flexibility in when military reunions can book with you. They can book a Thursday through Sunday pattern, Tuesday through Friday pattern. It really is focusing on your availability and your ability to offer them an opportunity to get discounted rates and packages in the dates that you need. So I love this market for that, and it's very flexible with their date selection. There are three critical elements to military reunions. The hospitality space is, I'd say, the most important. It is their living room. It is the place where they congregate and just relax and enjoy being together. Hospitality space, for many military reunions, they do need a banquet room, about 1,000 square feet at minimum. They will bring in snacks, they will bring in beverages, they'll bring in alcohol, they will bring in a reunion store, they might do a silent auction, they will have memorabilia. So there's a lot involved with the hospitality space, and it's a very, very critical part of their military reunion. Another main component of a military reunion is the banquet and the memorial service. Typically, those happen together on the last night of the reunion. Memorial services might take place away from the host hotel. The banquet is a bit more formal. There'll be more of a formal presentation and conversation. It's just not as casual for the reunion. Local attractions come into play. Military reunions, while they enjoy each other, they also enjoy exploring the local attractions. And believe it or not, if you do not have a military attraction in your destination, fear not, it is not a deal breaker. Many reunions have been taking place for about 15 to 20 years, and they look forward to seeing something new, and they don't necessarily have to go to that military museum or tour a ship or go to a military base. So it is important to find something that is unique and different that might appeal to military reunion attendees. Reunions typically, again, this is pre-COVID, will take place about within 40-mile radius of a major airport. It's important because a lot of them will be flying in, and the least steps to get from the airport to the host hotel is going to be important. And so trending wise, really that focus and that radius is that distance from the airport seems to be on average what happens. Let's get into the survey results from the 2021 survey. Our outreach began on February 3rd. For purposes of this presentation, I pulled the data on March 21st. The survey window will continue until April 3rd, and then we will have our final conclusion. So the presentation that you're looking at now focuses on data from February 3rd to March 21st. We reached out to our MRN community through a wide variety of ways to encourage them to participate. We also reached out to Meeting Professionals International and posted information about the survey to be taken by the MPI membership. In addition, links to the survey could be found on Facebook with Reunion Association Facebook pages, veteran themed Facebook pages, and then we also posted it on LinkedIn. As of March 21st, we had 2,847 participants, and so all of the data that we'll be talking about is coming from the responses from this group of people. The majority of the respondents were involved with military reunions, either from the planner committee or an association board position. We also had veterans that were participating as well. It was really nice to hear from them because the veterans are the ones that you can consider them the reunion attendees. So to hear what their thoughts were was really important. Our hospitality partners, while it may seem a little bit low, our database is skewed more toward the military reunion planners. There's way more military reunion planners than hospitality partners. And so it's typically heavier with the reunion side, the planner side versus the supplier side. The hospitality numbers are a little bit lower than previous years, and I believe that is because the people that are still in their positions in the hospitality industry are tasked with more responsibilities during COVID, and the time that they would normally have to take the survey, they're busy doing other things. And so I can see why that would be a little bit low. Typically, hospitality participation is going to be around 22-23%. So it is a little bit low for this particular survey. We asked our supplier partners how many of their 2020 reunions that they had on the books moved and contracted for 2021. You can see that 89% of them had 8 or less reunions. Typically with our destinations, there'll be probably 10 or less reunions on the books anyway, so I'm not surprised with those statistics. We asked our suppliers what happened to the reunions that did not contract for 2021. In other words, what happened to the reunions that were on the books for 2020 but did not immediately roll over for 2021? You can see 20% of the reunions had planned to meet but don't have dates yet. A greater majority of the reunions were waiting to see what happened with COVID, with the vaccine, and so they're just kind of in a waiting game at this point. And then 23% canceled outright. We asked our planner community the same thing, and we asked them about their next reunion, and so they said that over half of the respondents said that they did have a reunion on the books for 2021, and 20% of them are planning on having a reunion in 2021, but just had not contracted yet. So we're looking forward to having more contracts take place. I will say to the military reunion planners that may be watching this presentation, the time is now to get your 2021 reunion booked. Dates are going fast, and this is why. In 2020, so many of the events that were on the calendar for 2020 picked up and moved to 2021. So you have the second, third, and fourth quarter of 2020 and the first and potentially second quarter of 2021 all trying to squish into Q3 and Q4 of this year. It doesn't leave a lot of room for additional dates for reunions, and there'll be limited rate flexibility if you wait too long. We asked reunion planners about their responsibilities and the impact that the vaccine might have on their responsibilities for their tasks in planning a reunion, and a lot of them said it doesn't change anything because they're still cautious about getting out and about. We had about 24% of people that said, I've been out and about during the pandemic, and so I'm going to be out with or without the vaccine, so my role and responsibility doesn't change very much. What was very interesting, though, is asking them the question about their comfort level in participating in site inspections. 19%, while it seems like a low number, I was anticipating a much lower number than that, so it was nice to see that there is a consideration for doing site inspections and contracting for their reunion for 2021. So the vaccine is coming into play. It is giving them greater comfort and a greater sense of security in moving forward and getting back out. We asked reunion planners also, it was a very interesting question, if they thought their reunion attendees would consider going to a reunion now that the vaccine is out. And the specific question was, with the vaccine distribution well underway, would attendees consider going to a reunion at which they can meet safely? And overwhelmingly, as you can see, the answer to that was definitely yes. With regard to meeting safely, COVID, of course, has put more pressure on for social distancing, and there is a renewed philosophy of having reunions in locations that are more suburban with a lower concentration of people. And so the question then was put to them, based on COVID, are you considering more suburban or remote destinations that have a less of a concentration of people? 25.4% said yes. So if you are a supplier in more of a suburban locale, I would definitely include that with your marketing strategies, because a quarter of the folks said, yep, that's important to them. We asked our supplier community if they were considering offering FAMs or site inspections in 2021. 72% of them were, and so we were excited for that. That means, you know, things are opening up and people are getting out and about and getting back to their normal reunion planning tasks. We asked military reunion planners if they would consider participating in a site inspection or FAM tour in 2021. You see 38% said yes. There was a 13% that said, well, it's going to depend on the vaccine and you know, what's happening with the distribution. So, and then there was a smaller group that said, yes, we are curious about getting back out on the road. We would rather do site inspections only than to do a FAM. For planners to participate in FAMs, we said, well, okay, if you're going to participate, understanding that social distancing is still important for a lot of people, and it's one of the factors of safety protocols. What size group would you be most interested in or be most comfortable participating? And 42% said it really doesn't matter, and you can see that 29% would prefer 5 or less people participating in the FAM. We also asked reunion planners about the safety protocols that they have in place with regard to their upcoming reunions. You know, the big 3 is hand sanitizer, masks, and social distancing. They are also, as part of their agenda, considering reducing the number of social events and social activities. Some of the reunions were doing temperature checks, but it was not as prevalent as the masks and hand sanitizer and the social distancing. We asked the hospitality industry about the safety protocols that they have in place for upcoming reunions that they're going to be welcoming to their hotels and destinations. Mandatory masks was one, social distancing was another. They're doing a wide variety of things. You'll see that there is a capacity in 2 different squares, limiting capacity and shifting seating capacity. So the limiting capacity is reducing the number of total people that are in their restaurant at one time. The shifting seating capacity is for the military reunion in that banquet or final dinner, rather than having 8 people at a 60-inch round, having 6 people or 4 people. So that's just an explanation of the capacity differences there. Traffic flow in hotels, what that means is the hotel would actually block off a hallway, and the only people that were allowed to go down that hallway were the people that were going to be attending the reunion. So other guests of the hotel would not have access to a particular hallway. We asked reunion planners what safety protocols that the hospitality industry offers are most important to them. Again, no surprise, social distancing, masks, shifting the seating capacity, and for them also it was an adjustment of the meals and the services available, the adjustment of the menus and the services available. As many of you know, buffets are a big part of military reunions for the hospitality industry. They might be able to still have buffets available, but they have to have a staff person standing there and serving a particular entree as the reunion attendee walks down the line versus the reunion attendee serving themselves. We asked our supplier partners what the biggest challenges were in supporting military reunions. And for those of you watching, I have a letter code there. As you're reading through the list, just think, of which of those items do you feel is the biggest challenge for our supplier partners. Availability, attendance, safety protocols, social distancing, open for business, or local policies changing due to COVID. I will tell you that it comes as no surprise, letting military reunion planners know that destinations and hotels and attractions are open for business is the biggest challenge that they have. We're doing what we can on the Military Reunion Network website to let people know the status of open for our supplier partners. One of the things we asked our supplier partners about, if they're going to be marketing to military reunions, what are they going to be including with their marketing messages? And again, this is going to be a question that we'll ask you as you're watching this, just to go ahead and pick A, B, C, or D as you think which is the top answer for this market. And the answer, they are promoting a safe location for the military reunions to come and enjoy reuniting together. Speaking of safe locations, one of the trends that we have found this year has been the fact that military reunions, typically will have 75 to 100 people, 120 people at their reunion. And what they are doing instead now is having mini reunions taking place across the country. MRN has developed mini reunion packages with our supplier partners in an effort to better support military reunions wishing to get together in smaller groups across the country. 79% of the military reunion respondents said they wanted more information about this little program. The reunion package concept is, using an example, the USS Ranger has groups of people living in close proximity to each other in different geographic areas of the country. So maybe there's a cluster of 30 to 40 people that live within a day's drive of Seattle, or there's a group of people that are living fairly close to Washington, D.C. The purpose of the military reunions, the mini reunion package, is to allow the USS Ranger groups that live in one geographic area to meet in smaller numbers versus the entire association as a whole. We're finding that as a trend now, and we're supporting that effort as much as we possibly can with our supplier partners. Let's go to the website and I'll show you an example. If you're on the Military Reunion Network website, you'll scroll down to events. And here we are on the events page. And as you're scrolling down, you'll see the mini reunion package logo. Here is a package in the New Orleans area. Military reunion planners would click on this. If the dates looked good to them, they would go ahead and click on the information. You will see the package information, the inclusion information. If they feel as though that would be of interest to their military reunion association members, they will go ahead and click the button of sending more information about the reunion package. At that point, they'll immediately be connected to our supplier partner that is promoting the dates and reunion package for the New Orleans area. And then the reunion planner can take that information and promote it to their reunion attendees. And hopefully there will be a group of people that live in the Washington, D.C. area or live in the New Orleans area that want to get together over those dates. So it's fairly simple. Reunion planners can click on the various reunion packages, and then in their newsletter on their Facebook page say, hey, if you want to meet here over these dates. And then the reunion association just goes ahead and they just book their reservation. Let's take a moment to look forward and discuss what is coming down the line with regards to this market. One of the things that we asked our hospitality and supplier partners is which market they thought was going to come back first. If you are a supplier partner, you'll notice that we broke out military reunions from the typical SMRF market, which is social, medical, educational, religious, and fraternal. And so we broke that out because it obviously in our case it is its own category. Suppliers said that the regional drive market would come back first. Military reunions they thought would come back much later due to the fact that the majority of reunions are attended by folks in the higher risk category, but now that the vaccine is coming into play, I think we're shifting out of that a little bit. One of the reasons I highlighted the regional drive market is the mini reunion packages do come into play at that point, and there's now an opportunity for military reunions living in a geographic area that can drive to that destination within a day to meet in smaller groups and smaller numbers. So we're going to add them a little bit to the regional drive market numbers as well. We asked supplier partners when they thought military reunions would be back in full swing, and keeping in mind that the majority of military reunions take place in the third quarter of the year. September and, or let's say late August to mid-October is the peak of the military reunion season. So we asked our supplier partners what they thought, and they said not until 2022. And I think a part of that is the vaccine distribution, as well as the openness of attractions and hotels across the country. We've been tracking the coronavirus using Worldometers. It's one of the statistical websites, and we've been using that website from the beginning of the coronavirus. And of the 30 million cases, while we wish that there were not so many deaths, we are encouraged that there are so many cases that are in the recovery status. Over 22 million cases are in the recovery category. The other source that we use is the New York Times, and And this again is a screenshot that was taken on March 21st. One of the things that they have done a very good job with is the visuals and the graphics. We do notice that things are getting better as of mid to late March. You'll see that the number of cases and deaths and hospitalizations are all going down. New York Times has updated their graphics, and now they include a listing of the 14-day change, and it's really nice to see. If you're following these trending numbers, just watch the indication of the arrows. If it's a down arrow, it's trending in the right direction. So we want cases down, deaths down, and hospitalizations down. And as of March 21st, they were trending in the right direction. The vaccine, as we mentioned before, has been just in distribution for quite some time now in the US. You'll notice 68.8% of our seniors within the US have received at least one dose, and 41.8%, excuse me, have been fully vaccinated. So we're trending, we are well on our way to protecting our seniors, and it's a very encouraging number. Going back to the New York Times data for the coronavirus, they've done a very good job with their graphics and giving a snapshot and visual of the lay of the land across the country. This is a screenshot of March 21st on the rollout and how that's going state by state. So the darker green, the better. The three graphics posted by the New York Times, this is a screenshot of March 21st. This will give you an idea of the mask mandate across the country, where businesses are as far as mostly open, a mix or closed, and then also stay-at-home orders. You can see that there are only a few states left that have advisories, but the majority of the stay-at-home order has been lifted. So we're headed in the right direction there. Some of the evolving situations and conversations that we are tracking. First, the requirement of a vaccine passport to fly, the legality of requiring proof of a vaccine to attend events. There's a lot of criticism of that because it does conflict with privacy laws with regard to health and HIPAA. We're also tracking hotel reopening. It's a big challenge. I mentioned there the chicken and the egg. It is a huge challenge right now. Hotels are owners and operators are desperately waiting to bring staff back on. They want to be able to bring staff back on to support guests that are coming in and provide a high level of service. The challenge is that they need the guests to come in to increase revenues to bring those staff back on and support payroll. We're also following the impact of variants and the potential wave of new variants and strains of the coronavirus and potential shutdowns and the impact of that on military reunions. We're also tracking the situation with motor coach availability. The motor coach industry has been hit very, very hard and was one of the last of the travel industry, meetings industry to receive federal support and funding. And so there were a lot of smaller motor coach companies that are more vulnerable to closing because of the coronavirus and then because of the lack of support. We are also following the ever updating guidelines for meeting safely and having your reunion safely. On our website, on our COVID page, you will see links to the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC's recommendations for meeting and the safety protocols involved with that. So make sure you take a look at the website, and because it's there listed for you as a resource. So what does this mean for military reunions? First, let's talk about safety protocols. Reunion planners need to secure copies of the protocols that the hotels, attractions, and motor coach companies will be following during the time of their reunion. They need to promote that information to potential reunion attendees. Reunion planners also need to establish their own policies, maybe stricter guidelines. Maybe it's mask mandate throughout the reunion, even though that state might be open. It's also critical with those policies to stick to them. So if a potential attendee reads on the registration that masks are required, then masks better be required during the reunion, and they can't adjust from that policy. After the reunion, it's also going to be important from a tracing standpoint, from a health tracking standpoint, to be in touch with reunion attendees 2 and 3 weeks after the reunion has concluded to be sure everybody is still healthy. If there are cases of COVID that are brought to the attention of the reunion planner, then they need to communicate that information to all of the reunion attendees that were at that event. One of the additions and changes is a greater emphasis in contract language in 2 specific areas. The first one is a definition of purpose, which details the specifics of what needs to take place in order for the reunion to be a success. The second one is language that is focused on the coronavirus, all of the strains, all of the variants, and it outlines what will happen in the event that the reunion is negatively impacted by spikes or shutdowns or increased restrictions based on the coronavirus. It's important to note at this point that before reunion planners sign a contract, they should have a hospitality industry attorney review it for any limitations and vulnerabilities. With an emphasis on social distancing and an emphasis on reducing multiple touch points, it will not be surprising that military reunion planners will pare back or shift the way that they use their hospitality space. Typically and historically, reunions had a ship store, silent auction, memorabilia, food and beverage, and there were people sitting around 8 to 10 people sitting around a banquet table. That will probably shift. There may not be a ship store or memorabilia, and seating capacity at each table will be limited. The meetings industry as a whole has shifted to a virtual platform, and now that things are starting to come back in person, there is a greater sense of hybrid events. This will not be a part of military reunions, as their whole goal is to meet in person and connect in person. To that end, there is going to be a greater appeal to find destinations for military reunion attendees to meet in smaller groups, as we mentioned before. Using the mini military reunion packages is of greater appeal than connecting virtually. Speaking of meeting in person, the Military Reunion Network will be holding our educational summit. We will be in Colorado Springs June 7th through 10th, and our keynote speaker is Dan Pedersen. He is the founder and creator of the actual Top Gun program for the Navy, and he wrote a new book. So he's going to be there talking about the history behind the development of the program, as well as talking about his book a bit. So we're excited about that. Visit the event page of the website for more information about the summit. If you're interested in participating and getting involved with MRN, we are a trade organization. We are membership based. For our supplier and hospitality partners, there are 3 different levels of membership to support your budget and your marketing strategies. We are focused on promoting you to reunion planners trying to find you. My contact information, Sharon at Military Reunion Network, phone number 425-501-1430. We want to thank you so much again for your interest in the military reunion market. Again, if you are a veteran, we thank you so much for your service, and we hope to hear it often. We hope you never tire of hearing it. Appreciate you listening, and feel free to contact us with any questions you may have.